Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the 8th Annual Hearts of Texas Awards Luncheon. At this time, please welcome to the stage Chairman of the Board of the Volunteer Center of North Texas, Cheryl Alston.
Well, thank you, and welcome to everyone. Welcome to the 8th Annual Hearts of Texas Awards Luncheon, and thank you so much for coming. It's so wonderful to see everyone this afternoon, and it's so exciting to be among each and every one of you. Before we get started, we want to thank the Dallas Omni Hotel for providing this incredible facility and for the hospitality of the entire staff here. We always love coming to this venue. I am absolutely honored to be here and to kick off this year's Hearts of Texas Awards Luncheon. Serving as the board chairman of the Volunteer Center, I have the distinct pleasure of being part of this amazing organization, which has served as the backbone of volunteerism in North Texas since 1971. The Hearts of Texas Awards Luncheon has been the Volunteer Center's signature event since its inception back in 2007. Each year, this is our opportunity to celebrate volunteerism. It's also our chance to recognize and honor all the individuals in the North Texas community who have dedicated themselves to impacting the world of volunteerism, whether it's through the donation of their time, talent, or resources. Their daily work truly transforms our community. And for all of us, their commitment to service is nothing short of inspirational. So this year, for the first time ever, we've invited all of our honorees from previous years to identify one person who they believe shares their passion for volunteerism, someone who has inspired them through their continued dedication to transforming our community through incredible acts. For the 8th Annual Hearts of Texas we are honoring a group of 9 remarkable individuals. Each person believes in the importance of volunteerism in our society, and their service and contributions in North Texas are unprecedented in every way. They are true examples of the power of volunteerism, and we are proud to honor all of their achievements at this year's event. And now, I would like to introduce Chief Executive Officer of the Volunteer Center, Tammy Richards.
Good afternoon and welcome. This is such a fabulous looking room. Thank you all for being here today. I'm the new CEO of the Volunteer Center. I've been here just about 3 months, and I am so honored and privileged to lead an organization with such a legacy in this area. For more than 40 years, the Volunteer Center has provided volunteers to worthy nonprofits who need them. We believe that volunteerism is an important component in our community, and it's an important force for good. Volunteerism as a whole helps the individual, but it also helps the community. In this area alone, we donate through our volunteer time more than $12 million of economic value. That's 20,000 volunteers helping 2,500 nonprofits. That's a huge input to our community. We pair up people who want to help with organizations who need help. We help nonprofit organizations, and many of our nonprofit colleagues are here joining us today. We help them power the work that they want to do, whether it's working in education, in social services, in animal welfare. We at the Volunteer Center are an important part of that infrastructure to make all that good work happen, and we're honored to do that. I'd like to thank a number of our wonderful sponsors, our presenting sponsors who are here today. I'd like to thank Ms. Lyda Hill. I'd like to thank Mr. and Mrs. Jerry Jones and their family foundation. I'd like to thank Mr. David B. Miller and his family foundation, Texas Instruments, American Airlines, Dr. and Mrs. Ken Altshuler, and Mr. Al G. Hill Jr. Please join me in thanking these folks. I'd also like to welcome, thank, and 2 members of our State House of Representatives who are here with us today, the Honorable Cindy Burkett from Garland and the Honorable Ken Sheets from Dallas. Thank you so much for your service. I'd next like to acknowledge our wonderful host committee who helped kick this event off more than a year ago. Without their help, this couldn't have happened. So thank you so much for starting such a fabulous movement forward. I'd also like to thank my colleagues at the Volunteer Center, the wonderful people who are helping you find the right escalator, helping you find the right ballroom, and helping you find the right table. I am so privileged to work with people who have such heart for helping others. We did a value session at the Volunteer Center yesterday, and one of the things that really struck me is people talked about how they wanted to help more than just one organization, and the Volunteer Center lets us do that. We get to help 2,500 organizations through our collective power. So I thank my colleagues for helping me settle into my new position. I'd also like to thank just two incredible women, friends I've known for years and years, who were the Hearts of Texas co-chairs, Mrs. Trisha Cunningham and Mrs. Ann Pomykal. This event would not be possible without you. Thank you for all that you do.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage event co-chairs of the 8th Annual Hearts of Texas Awards Luncheon, Trisha Cunningham and Ann Pomykal.
Thank you so much. We're so pleased to be here. I'm Trisha Cunningham, Chief Citizenship Officer at Texas Instruments.
And I'm Ann Pomykal, Texas Instruments Foundation Executive Director.
You know, we're so proud to be serving today as the co-chairs of this luncheon. We have a long history with the Volunteer Center. We both are past board members at the Volunteer Center, and Texas Instruments has also had a very strong relationship for many years because we do understand the importance of volunteerism, and we have some of our wonderful volunteers here today with us.
The real reason for us to all be here today is to honor 9 people who have been very special in the volunteer world. This year we're representing the Lifetime Achievement Award to them and also recognizing individuals and honoring the awardees from previous years. These are our stargazers and our trailblazers, and they inspire what's next in volunteerism. What I really want to say is this room inspires the next world of volunteerism. I look around here and I see so many people Trisha and I have had the pleasure of working with, and everyone has that commitment, and being here and being a part of honoring these people is really special.
Okay, so Ann, I know you just talked about the people that are here, and we know that they're committed to volunteerism and really want to help advance the future of volunteerism. So we have some wonderful ways that you can help do that today here at the luncheon, and it's actually a few of my favorite things: travel, food, and flowers.
That's right, Trisha. If you take a look, everyone, at page 18 of the program, and all the details about the 2 silent auctions are there. The first is an amazing Bon Voyage package presented by American Airlines and Omni Hotels and Resorts. This includes 2 first-class tickets on American Airlines to anywhere in the continental USA, Canada, Mexico, Bermuda, the Caribbean, and the Bahamas. Trisha, I could handle this. Could you?
Oh, yeah, I'm with you, Ann. Are we bidding on this?
That's right.
Okay.
We have husbands in the audience. Maybe we can convince them. But that's not all. This silent auction also includes a 4-night stay at any Omni hotel or resort within the continental USA as well. This silent auction is valued at $7,000 and bidding starts at $5,500.
Okay, so that's our travel package. Now here's the next one. So if you look at the bottom there, it's Food Fantasia. And so this is presented by BBVA Compass. And I found out a little bit more about this package. So this is really a very exclusive dinner. So there's going to be a very small number of people that will be together. And so this is for 2 seats at that exclusive dinner with the world-renowned Roca brothers. So they have the El Salar de Can Roca restaurant. I can't say that very good, but I mean, just bear with me a little bit, but it is the #1 ranked restaurant in the world, and they're going to be here in Dallas. It's so exclusive that we don't even really know the location of where it's going to be at yet. So anyway, but the silent auction bidding is valued at $3,000 and bidding starts at $2,000. You do have the silent auction bid cards, Ann has. on your table. They should have been stuffed into your napkin. So you can bid on one or both of those. Just make sure that you include your bid amount and your contact information. And so as you're eating your lunch, if you'll just hold those up whenever the Volunteer Center representatives come around, they will take your bid item, and then we'll take the highest bid for those, and we'll announce those at the end of the day.
Also, Trisha, were you aware that I know flowers are one of your favorite things, so you can take home one of these beautiful centerpieces for a donation of $30 today. As a matter of fact, if any of you would like to take home the centerpiece, just see a staff member at the registration table on the way out, and they'll be happy to accept your donation. And remember, the cause is for the Volunteer Center.
Yeah, I do like flowers, and one thing about flowers is that it reminds me of special occasions, and we actually truly have a special person with us today who is celebrating a special occasion. This is an exceptional leader and a philanthropist who is a true matriarch in the Dallas community, and she's been affiliated with the Volunteer Center and really helping to promote our work for quite some time. Matter of fact, 2 years ago, she all delighted us as she was the honorary chair of the Volunteer Center Luncheon at the sixth annual Hearts of Texas Luncheon, and her birthday is in just a few days. So ladies and gentlemen, let's all wish a happy birthday to Miss Ruth Altschuler.
Happy birthday, Ruth.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage for today's invocation, the Right Reverend Anthony J. Burton from the Church of the Incarnation.
Let us pray. O God our Father, we know that in your compassionate love you call us not so much to be served, but to serve, and to bring hope and healing to our community. We give thanks for the gift of our lives and the dignity of serving as your instruments. We ask your blessing today on this gathering, that we may be enabled by our deeds and gifts to help those who are in tribulation, necessity, or distress. Comfort them, O Lord, with your gracious consolations. Make them to know that all things work together for good to them that love you. As we give thanks for this meal, may we be of one heart and one soul, united in one holy bond of truth and peace, of faith and charity. And may we with one mind and one mouth glorify you, for your name's sake. Amen.
The year was 1971. All in the Family was about to change the social consciousness of America's television viewing habits. Here in Texas, a 21-year-old from Denton named Phyllis George was about to be crowned Miss America. Well, in sports news, the Dallas Cowboys earned the right to play in the team's first ever Super Bowl in franchise history. That was all over 40 years ago. Yet arguably the most meaningful event of that year was the creation of yet another great legacy. The Volunteer Center of North Texas was about to be born.
I think a volunteer probably is somebody who cares about something other than themselves.
There's a spiritual aspect at the center of what most people do as a volunteer.
Find a passion, find something you love and care about, and then give it extra efforts.
Life is like a cookie jar. If you continue to accept the good things from it without ever putting anything back, it soon becomes empty.
For over 4 decades, the Volunteer Center of North Texas has been helping to keep that cookie jar filled in over 2,500 local nonprofits. A daily commitment to service that has proven to be both inspirational and impactful.
The pattern of volunteerism, of engagement with community, of helping and supporting your fellow citizens, it builds on itself. And we've seen that in many ways in Dallas and Fort Worth.
I grew up in a very small town little community of less than 1,000 people. And nothing happened in that little town without volunteers.
A volunteer is defined as a person who voluntarily offers himself or herself for a service or undertaking willingly and without pay. And yet a volunteer is so much more than simply that. A volunteer is visionary, optimistic, loyal, uplifting, neighborly, thoughtful, endearing, empathetic, respectful.
We're brought up to whom much is given, much is required. And I think we have all taken that to heart, and I think we believe it, and I think it empowers us.
We are certainly empowered by both our past honorees and current awardees of the Lifetime Achievement Award. All are ultimate volunteers, each committed to making life better for all individuals in our communities. And for that, we simply say thank you, and we salute you all.
You just can't begin to count the ways that volunteering is wonderful for you. Years ago, I used to give a talk about the benefits of volunteering, and I was excited when it came out that one of the benefits was that volunteers live longer.
If that's the case, Lyda Hill could live forever. The philanthropic endeavors she has been a part of are almost endless. Yet so too is the recipient she is presenting, Peggy Allison.
I was the president the year before she was president, and during that time we conceived of the wild idea of building the Junior League headquarters. And for me, and I think for Lyda too, it was the first time I'd ever done anything on that scale, but we just sort of thought it up and made it happen.
Peggy has the vision, and she's not afraid. And she also has a very good way of, she's extremely smart, which I happen to admit I have a bias for, but she has a way of making everybody comfortable because she can state things in general terms that make people comfortable with whatever we're doing.
I spent a year in school in England, and I found that the thing that I most missed was the network that I felt here of people that I loved, who loved me, but not in this, deep, committed marital way or anything like that. Just a network that was so important to me and supportive.
Volunteer leadership is a business. I mean, that's what business is. And more, I think it's exciting that volunteer agencies have had people from the for-profit sector as leaders, because I've learned a whole lot of things in the nonprofit sector that I've taken back to business.
How you spend your time makes you what you are, and volunteering is a pretty good way to do that.
Lifetime Achievement Award recipients, Melissa and Trevor Fetter.
When Melissa and Trevor Fetter moved to this community, it was a sight to behold. They immediately began to work in the community, serving on boards, volunteering for various organizations, and really participating, not just going through the motions.
Erle Nye is one of the first CEOs of a corporation that I met here in Dallas. I remember meeting him as part of a group of local CEOs, as he was CEO of TXU at the time. And he's one of those people who really led by example as a great corporate citizen, as well as a great corporate chief executive officer, and made an impact on me right from the beginning as soon as we moved here.
We asked Melissa to come on the board of KERA, our local public broadcast system. And she did. And she hadn't been on the board more than 6 months, then we began to plan our 50th anniversary.
It was because of Erle and his belief in what my vision was, and his willingness to put his money on the line and say, I will be one of your lead sponsors, that enabled me to go on to other individuals and say, this is what we're doing, here's our vision, we think we can make it work. And it was a tremendous success, and I really tie all that back to Erle and his belief in me early on that we could pull this off.
If you think back through history, most of the philosophers and most of the religious leaders have always taken the position in one form or another, which is the way to make your life better is to help others. And so that's what I would push for someone who is inclined to volunteer.
It's been said so many times over by many in the context of volunteerism, but truly it is something where you get so much more than you give. It's the connections with other people in the community, and it's the joy you see in making progress and helping an organization succeed.
Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, Jean Jones.
My mom and dad taught me at an early age how it just is so important to give to your community. It was just a way of life for us.
Nobody can get to where they want to go without support and nurture and advice. And if I could create the best role model of what those aspects would be and what they would embody, it would be my mom.
Charlotte just took to being a volunteer and being a good daughter from a very early age, and we had so much fun together.
There's one thing that we've learned about being involved in the Cowboys is that we can take all that interest and excitement and really shine it on those who really can't run with the ball themselves. And I think that truly is our higher purpose of why we're here.
She just has always been wanting to please her dad, I know. And he's pretty demanding and will ask her, say, Charlotte, you can do it. Just set your bar high and you can do it. Don't think you have to do this or that. You can do both. And I must say she has done that on being a mother and being in the workforce and being a volunteer.
She's been able to touch so many lives and do it in a way that is full of grace and dignity, and to be able to do so in a way that shows the passion that she truly has for other people. A lot of times people ask me, what motivates me. It's actually really simple. I just want to make my parents proud.
Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, Lisa Kraus.
Working with someone like Lisa Kraus has been one of the greatest joys, to see someone like her, the grace and poise and thoughtfulness that she brings to her volunteer work.
Volunteering has tethered me to this community. It's something much larger than myself, and that has been a huge gift. The people I've met along the way have been absolutely wonderful and inspiring and encourage me to try to do better.
The opportunity to help people, something that's brought me a lot of pleasure. And I think of my mother, what she did, and because we wanted to emulate her, it's what we did as well. She also got us involved in her projects very early on, so it was not like we had a whole lot of choice at an early age, but she was the best.
Janie is always respectful and gracious in terms of how she treats the staff at a nonprofit, how she treats her fellow board members, her commitment to the mission of the organization. That always drives her. I respect, admire, want to emulate how she conducts herself within the volunteer world.
I get much more from my volunteer work than anyone who is the beneficiary of that work.
I realize as I look around, my close relationships have been a result of volunteering and have grown out of that.
Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, David B. Miller.
I think back about the last 40 plus years of my experience as a volunteer and the various organizations I've been involved in, and just countless friendships that I've made. Many of which have resulted in really long-lasting and deep friendships. A great example of that would be Bobby Lyle.
David is also a person that I admire because when David gives, his resources, his financial resources. He also gives of his time. He gives of his mind. He is engaged. And one of the characteristics that I find very appealing about David at this point in his life is he doesn't take things casually. He takes an investment in something like the Senior Source or the Salvation Army or SMU. He takes it very, very seriously, and he gets involved. He understands what that organization is doing.
He's a man who I would characterize as a visionary leader and a person with boundless energy. I mean, I can't keep track of all the organizations that he's involved in, and when he gets involved, the commitment that he makes is just enormous. And Bobby Lyle doesn't do things halfway.
Whether it's on boards or if it's working out on the street or it's planting trees or whatever it might be with other volunteers, it just happens. It happens because you're there with similar motivation, similar values about what a community means and how you build community. I think when you take that into the business world, you find that is similarly true.
Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, Phil Montgomery.
Phil's legacy will be that he was selfless and genuine. Once you have those two things in place, there's really no limit to the amount of good you can do, the amount of impact you can have. That's who Phil Montgomery was. He had not a selfish bone in his body. He believed in his fellow man. He had the convictions of his own beliefs, and he really saw in his own activities, civic and volunteer, the opportunity to do things that were genuine. That meant a lot to him.
I feel cheated because I only met him at the very end of his life, but oh, what a great guy. That's how I got interested in uplift schools, and he really started those.
His civic life was born of conviction. I think that's a very important distinction. A true volunteer, someone who sets out to do something positive for his or her fellow citizens, for the community as a whole, genuinely and genuinely is doing it out of conviction. Phil had that conviction.
He took me to Peak Preparatory School one day, and I could see how passionate he was about the kids and the teachers, and it was never about Phil, it was always about the project.
He did it because of belief. It wasn't to promote himself, it wasn't to advance his business. In fact, Phil Montgomery, I would say, is one of the rare individuals who built a business to support his civic life.
I thought he was amazing. I thought he was just, what a great guy. What a wonderful guy. And he made a difference in so many areas.
Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, Connie O'Neill.
When you're a volunteer, the people with whom you work must be people where there is mutual respect and inspiration.
I've just learned so much from volunteering. I've met lifelong friends from it. I continue to grow from it. And I think also, you just are so grateful for all that you've been blessed with, to be able to hopefully give some back for that and help others that maybe aren't quite as fortunate as you. It's just really a gift to be able to participate.
She's just a remarkable woman. She has tremendous diplomatic skills, great judgment, wonderful insights, very, very generous with her time, and tremendous integrity.
Linda, to me, is probably the most unusual volunteers I've ever met. She's one of those people that has the creative side and also the business side mix, and she does everything with such grace.
I think Texans are a unique and wonderful breed. I think that we have a can-do spirit that comes out in everything that we approach. I think there's a kind of compassion and caring for one another that is rare and wonderful. And if I have made a difference, and I hope I have in some small way, then that's a life of value, a life I cherish, and that I'm very grateful that I've had the opportunity.
She's the type that she'll go in and roll up her sleeves and do all the dirty work, and yet then she can go in and chair a board meeting. And she does it with such humbleness.
She will only grow and continue to grow more skilled and better, although she's an A+ right now.
One of the things that Linda teaches many of us is she's probably one of the most loyal volunteers I've ever known. Once she's involved in an organization, she stays involved, and she is there for a lifetime.
I not only just love her dearly as a friend, I admire her greatly as a community and civic leader.
Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, Todd Williams.
Todd Williams is really a one-of-a-kind human being. I'm not sure I've ever encountered anybody quite like Todd. Todd knows how to effectively and strategically use all the different tools in his toolkit to make important positive changes happen across the community.
I felt like I was blessed with some resources and some potential talent that others could use, and so I said, how can I get more engaged and involved? We all seek success in some part of our life, but ultimately we're seeking significance at some point.
Todd is very willing to generously use his time, his intellect, his relationships, and his money, all the resources available to him, to stand behind his passions and convictions that all kids can be successful learners. And all kids, regardless of the neighborhood where they live, regardless of their family's resources, need to be and deserve to be prepared for success in life. All kids can contribute and must contribute to the health of our community.
It became a passion for me, and I found myself wanting to spend more time on the educational stuff than I did in my day job. And so I finally got to the point in 2009 where I said, I'm blessed enough to be able to step away and basically just focus full-time as a volunteer on public ed. And so working with the mayor, working on a number of different initiatives across the city, because I just felt like I can make a difference here. And I'm trying the best I can.
Todd produces positive change at a big scale.
It's very humbling, it really is. But at the end of the day, for me, it's all about the ultimate mission, which is making sure that every kid, because that's my background, where I grew up, it's important that they have that hope in their life.
Hope, the one thing that keeps us all going, by lending a hand, making a difference, enriching a life. And through the efforts of our presenters, our awardees, and all who are gathered here today, the Volunteer Center of North Texas will continue to be a lasting legacy of hope and support that will long endure. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm, well-deserved welcome to all of our honorees of the Hearts of Texas Lifetime Achievement Award. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as our honorees are seated, we present the Lifetime Achievement Award to the 2014 recipients. Lyda Hill, recipient of the 2008 Lifetime Achievement Award, presents the 2014 award to Peggy Allison.
Don't get too close to it. I get to say something. It's short. First, kudos to the Volunteer Center for everything they do for Dallas. What a service to act as a conduit between those who want to help and those who need their assistance. Where would we be without them? Second, my heartfelt thanks to Lyda for proposing me. We've worked together in the volunteer trenches for more years than I can count. and I consider my nomination here as living proof that familiarity does not necessarily breed contempt. This is a friendship I will always cherish. Thanks also to my husband, Richard, who, when I gingerly brought up taking on the chairmanship of the Perot Museum during its building process, without hesitation said, "You should do it. They'll be lucky to have you." With supporters like Lyda and Richard, I am the most fortunate person in the world. And there are so many people in this room who have made it a joy for me to work on projects I've loved. Thank you for this recognition and for my life.
Next, we welcome Erle Nye, recipient of the 2009 Lifetime Achievement Award, presenting the 2014 award to Melissa Fetter and Trevor Fetter.
Trevor and I are delighted to be honored together. We're a team and we appreciate this honor so much. We'd like to thank the Volunteer Center. We'd like to thank Erle Nye, whom we admire so much. And we'd also like to acknowledge George and Shotzi Lee, who are sitting with us today. They were the two wonderful people that when we moved to Dallas 9 years ago, introduced us to the nonprofit community, and we've taken it from there and gotten involved in so many wonderful organizations. Most importantly, we'd like to thank, many of whom are in the audience today, the staff, the hardworking, intelligent, diligent, dedicated staff of all of the nonprofits with which we've worked over the years. Thank you.
Next, we welcome Charlotte Jones Anderson, recipient of the 2013 Lifetime Achievement Award, presenting the 2014 award to Jean Jones.
Will you speak? I wish Charlotte could do the speaking for me, but I want to be brief, but I can't help but want to thank everyone. Thank you, Charlotte, and thank the Volunteer Center of North Texas. It's just a humbling experience to be here, and as I look across this room and see so many wonderful friends and family and all the great volunteers here, I'm reminded of when our family moved to Dallas 25 years ago. It was a rather sensitive time, but I remember the wonderful friends that reached out and made a difference in my life. They're here today, so many of you, and I thank you for your continued friendship and your support. I can't help but look back at three amazing, strong women leaders in this city that reached out and guided me as I moved to Dallas. That first strong woman called Jerry and I just a few days after we moved here. It was our beloved mayor, Annette Strauss. She called and welcomed us to Dallas and told Jerry she wanted us to come to City Hall and let her formally appreciate and recognize our move to Dallas. It was so meaningful. She continued to touch our lives through the years. What an amazing leader, and she's got two fabulous children that are carrying her torch for her. But she certainly touched my life. And then another incredible woman was Margaret Hill. I hadn't been here long, and Margaret called, and not only did she invite me to many charity luncheons, but she came to my house and picked me up and drove us to the luncheons. And along the way, she gave me great words of wisdom and many directions of things that would be great and beneficial for Jerry and I. And then next came such a strong, powerful woman that is still continuing to guide me today. What would SMU be without Ruth Alschuler? She's the bricks and mortar. She's the bricks and mortar of that institution, and she's also the leader and the shining light for the Salvation Army. And she has shown her light to our family about what we can do to help make the Salvation Army our torch and let us help lead the way with all the young people. And Ruth has touched 3 generations of our family. First, Jerry and me, and then Charlotte, and now our granddaughters and grandchildren are very involved with the Salvation Army, as well as our niece, Meredith Counts, who is here today. But Ruth wanted the young people of this community. She knew they were the future of Dallas. So thank you, Ruth. You're a great friend and a great leader, and you're my rock, and I love you. And thank you for leading me. And thank you for letting me receive this honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Janie McGarr, recipient of the 2012 Lifetime Achievement Award. She'll present the 2014 award to Lisa Kraus.
Janie told me to be brief, and I always do what Janie McGarr tells me to do, so here I go. But in all seriousness, I want to say that I'm truly honored to receive this recognition from the Volunteer Center of North Texas. I am humbled as well to stand alongside such inspiring leaders, and I am touched, so very touched, that Janie, my dear friend and mentor, nominated me for my work on behalf of Planned Parenthood. 2 years ago, I had the wonderful pleasure of introducing Janie when she received this award, along with her sister, Nancy, and their mother, the wonderful Annette Strauss, co-founded this organization because she understood the inherent value of volunteering and giving back to the community. I remember at the time being so moved by the generational commitment to community through service, mother to daughter in that case, and again, as we just saw with Jean and Charlotte. I grew up in the Bay Area, and I remember my mom sitting at the kitchen table working on junior league projects, and it's something that I noticed. I volunteer because I want to give back to the community that welcomed me with such open arms 23 years ago, and volunteerism has enriched my life and tethered me to our community. I'm inspired by the rich can-do spirit I see all around and the collective dedication of helping others. And there is nothing more uplifting than working toward a common goal. When I volunteer, I feel part of something much bigger than myself. And I hope that in some small way I'm contributing. And to end, I just want to say that I know that I'm so lucky to be able to volunteer. I have met so many wonderful, passionate people in the process, from the hard-working staff at the various nonprofits to fellow board members, to the people served by the good organizations in our community. Volunteerism has been a gift in my life, and I hope to pass it on to my sons. Thank you for this recognition.
Please welcome Bobby Lyle, recipient of the 2010 Lifetime Achievement Award, presenting the 2014 award to David B. Miller.
I always get to adjust the microphones. First, certainly, I want to thank the Volunteer Center for this very nice recognition. And second, I want to express my appreciation to a very, very dear, longtime friend, mentor, and as I understand it, one-person selection committee, Dr. Bobby B. Lyle. Carolyn and I are asked frequently, what motivates us to support this organization or compels us to support that organization, And the answer is very simple, and I'll point to the Bible verse that Charlotte recited a few minutes ago, which I think for our entire family is a core value. You know, without a doubt, our greatest blessings are our friends and family, many of whom are here today. But I've also had the good fortune to be part of a very successful business, and an outgrowth of that is just a strong sense that, hey, we need to give back and reach out to those that are less fortunate than we are. So I thank you all for being here today.
Next, we welcome Nancy Halbreich, recipient of the 2012 Lifetime Achievement Award, presenting the 2014 award to the late Phil Montgomery, accepting on his behalf Ann and Jane Montgomery.
My name is Jane Montgomery, and I am her sister Ann Montgomery, and we are Phil Montgomery's daughters. Our other sister, Maureen, keeping with our father's spirit, is spending the semester in South America. We're going to make this very quick because, unfortunately, we were not gifted in public speaking like our dad. But we want to start out by thanking Nancy for this incredible honor. We are so fortunate, and we are very grateful. We are honored to accept this award on behalf of our late father, who would be humbled and grateful to be included among such distinguished honorees. He was never one who sought gratitude, but instead served quietly, thoughtfully, and diligently for his city, state, and country. Our father's career was so much more than simply a job that gave him a paycheck. Though he loved his commercial real estate company and worked tirelessly for its success, it was obvious to us and many others his career encapsulated so much more. In short, he spent an equal, if not more, amount of time on his many volunteer positions.
Our father strategically chose his areas of volunteerism, evident through his passion to radically change the face of public education in Dallas-Fort Worth, as well as his devotion to the state of Texas. He focused his efforts in areas where he saw the most need and stayed until he felt he had made a tangible difference. We wish he was here today to accept the award, but what an honor and a gift it is to remember his legacy with you all. Thank you to the Volunteer Center of North Texas, and thank you for honoring him. We hope that his enduring spirit of volunteerism lives on in the hearts of Texans for generations.
Please welcome Linda Custard, recipient of the 2011 Lifetime Achievement Award, presenting the 2014 award to Connie O'Neill.
Thank you very much. My 90-year-old father has a great saying in that you're judged by the company you keep, and I hope that's the fact today because I am in incredible company with those that are here today receiving the award. Thank you for all that you all have done to make so much of a difference in our community. I also not only want to thank the Volunteer Center for this great recognition, but also for your mission of matching those that want to volunteer and give their time to agencies that have the need. I cannot think of a greater mission, and I truly think that you are premier in the volunteer world for making a difference in the lives of just countless individuals. I want to thank my family for all of their support. My husband, Chris, and 2 of my 4 children are here today, Amanda and Isabel. Thank you so very much. And as I look around, I see many, many friends that I've volunteered in numerous organizations throughout the years who have given countless hours of your time. Thank you for taking time out to be here today. And of course, thank Linda Custard. For all of you all that know Linda, she is truly one of a kind. She is a mentor and a friend that I will cherish forever, and I'm so grateful and honored for her recognition. I really want to challenge everyone here today. I think Dallas is a unique place because of the volunteer spirit that's here, and I think it is incumbent upon all of us to train and mentor and encourage our next generation of volunteers to follow, because I think they can continue to do fabulous work, and there's a lot of work to be done. And lastly, I would say that I really feel selfish in receiving this because I, like many have said, there's not a volunteer job that I've done that I haven't received much more than I've given. So thank you.
Next, we welcome Brent Christopher, President and CEO of the Communities Foundation of Texas, presenting the 2014 award to Todd Williams.
I'd like to thank four people or four things. First, I want to thank Brent Christopher, who is a man I admire very much, and he had some incredibly kind words to say, and to the Volunteer Center of North Texas, which is an amazing organization that provides amazing leverage for our city in terms of its ability to deliver tremendous resources to the people who need it most. Second, I'd like to thank my wife, Abby, who is absolutely a rock in my life and who has amazing patience with me when I told her I was going to retire from Goldman Sachs and now finds myself working harder than I ever did when I was working for pay. She lives to whom much is given, much is expected, and she's an amazing role model for me. And third, I guess I'd like to thank Phil Montgomery. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Phil Montgomery. He introduced me in 2004 to this concept of public charter schools, and I drank the Kool-Aid, and I drank it really, really hard and really fast. And it's a legacy to his family and to him that I'm here today, and that hopefully someday I'll be a Phil Montgomery for somebody else. And then finally, I guess I just want to say thank you to everyone in this room. There's so many friends out here who believe so strongly that education is the great equalizer and it's the great opportunity that's going to solve the problems that we have in our community. We have amazing poverty in our city, unfortunately, and it's growing, and we've got to solve it, and I can't think of a better way to solve it than through education. There's many people out here who've been, who had a great education. But they realized that just because they had a great education or their kids had a great education, that none of us should take ever great comfort that the hole is on someone else's side of the boat. We're all in this together. We need everybody's shoulder to push behind this, and I challenge all of us, including me, to continue to do this, because this is what's going to help our city become even greater. So thank you for this.
One final time, ladies and gentlemen, please give a well-deserved round of applause to all of the honorees of the Hearts of Texas Lifetime Achievement Award. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one final time, we welcome to the stage event co-chairs of the 8th Annual Hearts of Texas Awards Luncheon, Trisha Cunningham and Pomykal.
Thank you all so much for being here. I mean, really, I'm just in awe in being on this stage with this group of people. I mean, they really are the trailblazers, I believe, for volunteerism here in our community. They have shown it with not only their time, but their treasure. And so we really do appreciate all that they've done to make our North Texas area better. Now, all of you that have these little bid cards, if you have not turned them in, we found out that some people have been chatting and things over lunch and might not have had a chance to turn in your bid card. What we're going to do now is, if you would really like to do this, did you look at these packages here? They're amazing. So if you would like to bid on these, please go ahead and do so, and just turn it in to the registration desk, and the Volunteer Center will contact you if you've won the wonderful prizes.
Also, please do not forget the beautiful flowers on the table. Just pick them up. If you see a set of flowers on another table and you want them, I promise you can get them. The last thing that I want to say today on behalf of Trisha and myself is the pride that we have had in being asked to be part of something that honors such beautiful and special people. There's not a person in this room that has not had some impact somewhere on someone. And I think the leadership behind us today stands tall in being what we all would like to be. I suggest we give everyone a standing ovation that's up here, and the day is over.